and welcome to Honors Chemistry for the year. This is our first lesson. We're just going to obviously be starting with Chapter 1. And for this first section, it's just a bit of an overview about chemistry. These next two videos, we're just going to go over the introduction to chemistry, and then the second video is an intro on the scientific method. Okay, so for the first part about chemistry, the most important thing is that the chemistry is the study of the microscopic world. So normally, we usually think macroscopically. So chemistry is the study of the microscopic world. So the prefix micro, meaning small. And all of the things around us consist of different atoms and molecules. And we're going to go over those differences in a second. So in general, we need to think on the atomic level. And for the most part, most of you are coming from biology, where you were able to study microscopic organisms with the microscope. However, atoms and molecules normally are so small that they can't be studied with a biological microscope. There are much more powerful microscopes that are able to study objects that small, that are those types of microscopes are much less common because they are much more expensive. So for this year, chemistry is the study of the microscopic world, those things that are incredibly small, and we're going to study how they connect to the macroscopic world, that prefix macro, meaning large. Okay, so the difference between atoms and molecules. So first off, an atom is the smallest part of an element that is still that element. So an atom is anything, if you look at the periodic table, which we'll talk more about next unit as well, an atom is any one of those elements on the periodic table, while a molecule is two or more atoms joined together acting as a unit. So one molecule we've talked about already is water, which is represented by the chemical formula H2O. And what that means, H2, that's subscript 2, meaning there's two hydrogens in that molecule, and O, meaning there's one oxygen atom in that molecule. Okay, and notice there's no subscript 1 next to the oxygen. If there is no subscript, we assume that that subscript is 1. And atoms and molecules are both examples of matter. And matter is anything that takes up space and has mass. So even though atoms and molecules are very, very small, they still take up a small amount of space, and they still have mass. Okay, so water is one type of molecule. Another type of molecule we're going to talk about some more this year are diatomic molecules. And if you think about the prefix here, the prefix di, meaning two, these are two atom molecules in which it's the same atom bonded to itself. So if you think about the air we breathe oxygen. That's not just O, that's O2. It's two oxygen molecules bonded to itself. And same with another type of gas, which is much more explosive. Hydrogen gas is just two hydrogen atoms bonded together. So we represent it with the chemical formula of H2. Okay, so that's the difference between atoms and molecules, and then what happens, atoms and molecules interact, and they form reactions. So, when we're thinking about chemical reactions, reactions are just a reorganization of how atoms are attached to each other. So an example of one type of reaction is if you take a water molecule, and in this case two different water molecules, if you run an electric current through it, it breaks apart into one oxygen molecule and two hydrogen molecules. And later this year, we're going to talk about different types of chemical reactions. And this particular type is called a decomposition reaction. The reason why it is called a decomposition reaction is because you're taking one molecule, in this case, two of the same molecule, two of water, and you're breaking it down into two or more different atoms or molecules. All right, that's it for this section. We will continue next with the study of the scientific method. See you next time.